Hello everyone. So today's session is about workshop on business model canvas. But today our speaker is Dr. Sunpreet Sahni. She has a career of 18 years of rich experience in academics and research, is presently working in GNIMT Ludhiana, India. She is a doctorate in marketing management, besides credited with an MBA in marketing as well as PGDMS, postgraduate diploma in marketing and sales. So without any further ado, I would like to request ma'am to take over and we're eagerly waiting for you, ma'am.
Mr. Jaiswal, should I get started with my presentation?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
can get started.
Yes, ma'am.
So, very good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Dr. Sunpreet Sahni, and discuss about business model canvas. First of all, on the onset, I would like to thank CT University for giving me this opportunity. And Ms. Apurva has been coordinating with me throughout. So thank you, Apurva ma'am, for being very kind and for your cooperation as well. So let's get started without wasting time. The topic for today's discussion is business model canvas. And when we say business model canvas, the three words, they try to define in itself when we say business. Business means when the organization, the company, they are performing their business activities and the basic purpose is to generate profits, as we all know it. Business is to increase the production, to increase the profitability, to increase the market share of the company, and of course to be the market leader. That is the prime importance, the prime objective of any business entity or any organization. On the other hand, the second terminology, model represents the kind of the structure or the kind of the process or the through which or the kind of processes through which the business activities they are performed, or what kind of methods are performed in order to make the business successful. And of course, the third terminology that relates to canvas. Canvas, again, it's a kind of a simple canvas or a platform where the business methods are used in order to make the enterprise, in order to make the business successful and to run the business efficiently. So in totality, business model canvas, it's a kind of a platform where how, where, how, and when to do business, what are the different elements, what are the different dimensions to be taken care of. That is very important while performing business. So my dear students, in very simple terminology, when we say business, so think further on, I want to just discuss an overview of what the business model canvas is all about. Well, to be in a very model canvas, it's basically a strategic management used for developing new business models, and it offers a visual chart. It offers a visual chart with elements describing a firm's or a product's value proposition, infrastructure, about its customers, about its finances, then assisting business to align their activities by illustrating the potential trade-offs. And at the same time, the business model, it's a conceptual blueprint of the business instruments employed to plan the functional structures and systems of a firm to between the business entities and the external factors. Whereas on the other hand, it's this model, they are to be redesigned, how why they should be designed, and what are their prerequisites and what is the purpose. Well, in order to provide the information about an organization's target markets means who are going to be the customers, what activities they need to be performed, what kind of products and services they need to be targeted to the right kind of customer. That is called as the target market. That, of course, initially, is taken care of, that the market's needs and the role that the business products or services, it is going to play in meeting those needs. Business models innovation. It describes the process in which an organization it tries to adjust its business model. So on the screen, you can see that there are certain pointers highlighted. Firstly, it's to add value to the business models to survive the cutthroat competition. In order to survive in this very neck-to-neck competition scenario where the doing business or performing business activities, it's sheer impossible for any business entity. So it's very important to add value and to see to it that is who are going to be the target customers, what are going to be the products and services that the business organization is going to sell to its end consumers or customers. Then it's very important to see what are the customers' preferences, their needs, their requirements, their expectations from the service providers. Then thirdly, the market trends. It's very important that nowadays customer is regarded as the king, and to know the market trends, who are going to be the competitors and what are the competitors they're offering to their customers, all their strategies, their promotional strategies, their marketing strategies, they need to be reviewed while performing before planning anything for a business model. Then another very important aspect is the promotional strategies. Promotional strategies means that is how once the product has to be launched in the marketplace, it's very important to make the customer aware about the product, about its value additions, about the features, attributes, and that is through advertisement. And the idea is to make the customer aware, to create an interest of the product in the mind of the customer, then creating and stimulating desire, and eventually making the customer buy the product. For a business model and its prerequisite, as we know it very well, that the technological changes, they are happening every day. If we just talk about any cell phone industry, or if we talk about any automobile industry, these industries, they try to add value addition to their product from time to time, and that too in a very fast pace. The reason being the changing market trends, the competitors, they are adding value to their products and services, and of course the technology, that is the technological upgradation, they are happening every day. A new technological upgradation is happening. So in order to survive the cutthroat competition, business models, they have to be redefined, they have to be and because when we say the business model and the requisite, it's very important that in order to create a business model, which is going to create a framework of the draft, how the firm interacts with its stakeholders. And when we talk about stakeholders, employees, etc., then assisted by technology to derive the return on investment, that is ROI, making it very gainful, sustainable, and creating new values for the technologies for the business entities. This is very important. Coming to the next is the elements of business model canvas. When you talk about the elements, here it's very important that the firm, any business company or any who's trying to propose, who's trying to initiate with its business plan of doing business, they need to take into account. First of all is the cost involved in order to manufacture the product, materials, while the cost is involved for distribution, the cost is also involved when the products, they need to be advertised or they need to be promoted at the market level. Then secondly is the revenue. You know, what is to be invested and how much the returns are going to be there. So it's always a kind of a balance, an equilibrium has to be maintained with what is going to be the profitability. So all these things, they are to be synchronized and they need to be considered, beforehand. Then next are the competitors. It's very important to know the competitors. Suppose if a company who is trying to launch a new cell phone or a new automobile in the marketplace, before launching the new automobile, they or any kind of a product or any consumable product or any electronic product or any electronic gadget, the company or the business entity, they need to know who are their competitors and what are the products they are offering to the marketplace, in the marketplace to the customers. Then what is the price? The 4 P's they need to be considered: product, price, place, and promotion. How it is to be distributed, and it is, of course, how it is to be advertised so that the customer is made aware about the existing product, and eventually they buy the product. Then another very important determinant is the pointers are given. The demand and supply, it's very important. If the demand is there of the product, then only the company will produce between. If the demand exceeds and the supply is not possible to the end consumer, so then again it's going to be creating a negative impression for the company, and at the same time, the customers might be switching to some other product or some other brand. So demand monitored, and accordingly they need to go in hand. Then coming to the target customers. Target customers means that is who are the potential customers, who accordingly it is to be segregated, and the target customers or the target consumers, they need to be tapped, and accordingly then the promotional campaign or the promotion needs to be done. Next is your increasing the market share. So definitely when we talk about business, the major motive, as we have discussed earlier also, that the prime objective and the prime, you can say, purpose of any business is to increase the market share, to make profitability, and of course to generate profit generation. That is the major purpose of any business. Then coming to the 5 M's, men, money. All these 5 M's, they are very integral part and parcel of the business model, when we try to design it, when we try to craft the business model, or when it is to be structured. So that is the men relates to the human resources, machines, methods, machines, what is the equipment to be used regarding the infrastructure facilities. Then methods again relate to the different processes and the techniques to be used. Materials, of course, relate to the raw materials, because if the raw material on time, so the production, it goes on uninterruptedly. And last but not the least is the money, because money is considered to be the life and blood for any business entity. So without money, the business cannot happen. So monetary value, the capital, as we, in very technical terms, we call it as capital or the funds, they are to be raised for any business. Then STP approach, that is segmenting, targeting and positioning approach. Of course, the external and internal environmental factors. So we are very much aware that there are many factors. Internal factors means which exist within the company, and considering the strengths and weaknesses of the company. Then external factors are the political factors, the economic scenario, which is in which the business organization is trying to run its business. Then the very dynamic, very changing environment. Then talking about the legal environment, the socio-economic environment. So all these external factors, they need to be considered before planning a business. So overall, model canvas. Coming to the next, here we'll be discussing about that. I'll be just taking up a case study method, and I'll be taking up 3 examples of mobile payments, the technologies. Payments, they are being used by through the smartphones, and the 3 giants of this, new discussing about the Google Pay, then Paytm, and Pay Phone Pay. So mobile payment technologies, like they have a model discussing about the case study method, taking into consideration the 3 giants of and how they have tried to incorporate their operationalization, and how these online payments, by performing the cashless payments using smartphones, they have been able to perform their business efficiently. Giant players in the Indian context. For business model for technological based services. So when we say technology based services, it relates to the value proposition, it relates to interface, it relates to service platforms, organizing model, and revenue and cost sharing models. Under this particular slide, I'll be using a vision model, VISOR, acronym for value proposition, interface, service platforms, organization method, and revenue model. which has been designed by Pereira in 2015. And this business model, vision model has been point for technology-based services. Well, when we talk about this is a business model, a vision framework, which has contributed towards the domain of technology in dimensions. First is value proposition. The framework it needs to target segment of the customers, to value the firm's products and services, and eventually how to avail it. This is the value proposition, that is adding value to the products and services or the business organizations they are selling to their customers. Second is the interface. The interface of the user, it constitutes an very bigger role in the successful offering of the products and services. And it's the user interface which is regarded as how the customers interact with the service providers along with the delivery ways. Then it's very important that needs to offer the services or need to provide in case of technology based services, it's very important that the whatever the value is delivered convenient to use and easy to access for the users. So that is the convenience, and uh, along with the need and interactivity is very easy for the customer. That is essential that the service platform needs to be designed in such a manner so that an association by creating value and offering quality products and services are offered to the customers through technological platforms. Now, servicing platforms means where the quality services, in case of technology-driven, any kind of, when the services they are to be offered to the customer. So, offering quality services, that is the biggest, you can say, asset. It is the biggest dimension and the biggest essential when technology-based services they are to be offered to the end customer. Then next is the organizing model. This segment, it focuses on the designing of the value chain and the position of the by offering quality services to its customers with efficiency. And it's very important that the infrastructure facility potentiality to create substantial value for the organization as well as for the customers, where the interrelationship by offering quality services by the service provider. So in very, very simple terms, organization model, it relates to where there's a direct interrelation, a direct interface between the customer and the interrelationship with the service provider. Last but not the least is the revenue or the cost sharing model. And it suggests that there needs to be an association and a connect with the previous segment. So the value proposition, then the interface, service platform, organizing model, and the revenue model. That is, they are an interconnection between all these are generated and the service provider is able to generate profitability. Now let's have a look, that is how the different dimensions of the visual business model for technological kind of any servicing which are being offered. Then when we talk about the 5 dimensions of the visual canvas, the value proposition, interface, service platform, organizing model, and the revenue model. You can see on the screen the different dimensions which have been depicted in a diagrammatically form. They are an effort to relate to each other, and this is what is the prime objective of this vision, the digital services and platforms. Now let's have a look. That is how you can see the different arrows, vice versa, going upwards and downwards. You can see the framework which depicts that by considering the customer's preferences, then and offering the best value as per the expectation, the demand, their requirements, it results in business. And this can be further accomplished by providing interface with service providers and customers, then and reliable service platforms combined with infrastructure and technical know-how, leading to revenue and profitability for the digital services platform. So it's a kind of an ongoing process where the value proposition, it tries to have an interrelationship between interface to interact and communicate with the customers, and then deliver the quality services. Then on the other hand, the fourth, you can say the dimension, organizing model, which describes the organization structure and the interrelationship with the service provider and the customers. And last but not the least, that is how the revenue is to be generated. So all the arrows, they are interfacing with each other. So that means each and every dimension of the visual dimensions, they are interrelated and they are very much complementary to each other. Now let's take up case study method aligning with the visual framework. In the previous slide, I had discussed about the vision model and how the vision model for technology-based services. And here, I'll be discussing the case study method, aligning the vision model. That is how, how this vision framework, it's used with the three giants. The business models has been used by Paytm, Google Pay, and PhonePe, and model. It has been validated for these business models, aligning the vision framework, and how these three mobile payment services, they have been working very efficiently, and they have been running their business enormously in the Indian context. So if we talk about Paytm, Google, and PhonePe. So let's take up one by one the case study of each every. First, I'll be discussing about ATM. As you can see on the slide, that a brief profile of what Paytm, how did got it started. Paytm was launched in the year 2010 and founded by Vijay Shankar. New Delhi is a for pay through mobile. Was an Indian e-commerce website and a payments app, which was available in 11 languages that facilitated the users to recharge their mobile phones, maybe pay online travel bookings, then payment of the electricity bills, paying for the services, etc. Paytm launched in 2013 has been the largest platform offering M-payment services in India. And bypassed 100 million downloads in 2017. So you can see that is the company has grown 0.2 million users in the March 2019 to 21 million in March 2021, where the transactions through Paytm has has increased by 1. Transactions. So you can well imagine that is how Paytm has been able to launch its services in a very successful manner. Then, besides, the users can avail the chance to preserve as cashback offers, and The biggest advantage is that while performing transactions debit and while using the application. So you can see that Paytm, even in India, the growth of Paytm as technology, as a business model of Paytm, it has enormous jump by 1.2 billion monthly transactions. It's a huge success. So let's now have a look of the has been. So we'll be trying to relate to the vision model that operated, it has been used by the business case study of Paytm. First of all, the key partners of Paytm are banks, hotels, insurance companies, shopping centers, movie theaters. The key activities are transfer of funds, enhancing. Key resources are technology platforms, the RBI license, value propositions are recharging business, Paytm wallet, e-commerce vertical, digital gold, etc. Then to customer services center, Paytm platforms. Then cost structure relates to most of its expenses to its platform where customer acquisition happen. Then regarding its channels, Paytm website, client sites, vendor sites, mobile users, convenience of e-wallet offers. Then last but not the least is the revenue streams, commissions, digital gold and e-commerce. So how this business case study functions of Visual they have been applied in case of Paytm. Next, I'll be taking up the business case of Google. That Google initially started as a search engine and has evolved into promotion, marketing activities, and a cloud storage for users. It has again ventured into mobile and gadgets like smartphones, laptops, etc. in the digital arena. Google for the Indian users in 2017 and has eventually changed to Google Pay in January 2018. In less than 37 days, it was established in India. Million applications were reported, and within a span of 40 days, 30 million transactions took place. So this was a big starting in phones, watches, and laptops in the digital arena. When we talk about the components of Google Pay, let's have a look then. Google maintains partnerships with central bank and government, has made its products and services easy to interact, the ecosystem. Google Pay for Business is free and easy way for small business merchants to enable digital payments without any hindrance. Uh, it also helps on the online platform, and it introduced digital payment abhiyan to create awareness regarding cashless transactions. It also spotted a platform in India to create experience and involve the customers through the app by offering services of Urban Clap, Make My Trip, etc. Then the revenue model of when we say that Google Pay, it can be segregated into three segments. Firstly is mobile recharges, secondly, bill payments, and thirdly is UPI. That I'll be discussing the case study of how business case study of PhonePe, they have incorporated the dimensions of visual model. And let's have PhonePe again. It's an e-commerce payment system. It originated in Bangalore, India. Nigam, Rahul Chari, and Brazil engineer in 2015. Initially, it was the payment application that was based on Unified Payments Interface, which facilitated transfer of money not only between two banks, but by using smartphone also. Then it permitted the user to pay from the bank account to online as well as offline payments as well. Well, the initiation of PhonePe, the application was downloaded by 10 million users, offering payments without currency and with no requirement of any personal or bank details. Established as M-Payment platform, PhonePe started its own apps in 2018, like Mantra, Oyo, Ola, IRCTC, etc. Now, PhonePe has worth $1 billion and has expanded its network in more than 150 cities across India. So from this case study, you can well imagine that is how PhonePe, by incorporating business model of Visha, they have been able to launch their business very successfully. Of business model of PhonePe, customer valuation proposition, and it provides online transactions which are prompt and secure. Market segments relates to the individuals and business domain, which include retail outlets and online shopping. Then coming to the revenue model, they are made and services are offered. And last but not the least is the growth model, which focuses on prompt and comfortable services besides creating digital platforms for SMEs. So you can now see that is after just having a look of the Paytm, Google Pay and PhonePe. All these three technological giants in their offering of their technological services. Now, let's now have a look that is how Visual business model, it has been in case of Paytm, Google Pay and PhonePe. The first key component that easy and connects people. Then when we talk about Paytm, it has established trust and easy to make payments. Whereas Google Pay, it concentrates its products and services in an interactive app is free and reduces the process of verification and has initiated a campaign with the government in creating. Whereas on the other hand, when we talk about PhonePe regarding its value proposition, it helps in digital transactions where security is maintained. It's very fast and easy to access, easy to operate, then offers services to its ATM services as well. On the other hand, when we talk about interface, as on the slide, you can see that Paytm, no cost is involved, transaction of payment is safe, and it can be availed 24/7 in case of Paytm. That is, the interface is such easy to access for the users. Whereas in case of Google Pay, you can see the unified payment interface or the UPI, the Chrome payments, customers, they use the Google Chrome browser to buy from the Google Pay websites. And UPI through the mobile devices and by using the Google Pay app. So Google Pay also uses the same interface method. Then the recharging and the bill payments of PhonePe, it helps the users to pay bills, avail recharge services with a quite a number of services providers on the PhonePe platform. Users to make M payments through the user's account. So you can see that is how the interface, when you talk about Paytm or Google Face method, has been made very easy to access for the users. Coming to the service platforms, while in case of the Paytm giant, Paytm offers users through debit or credit card, internet banking, mobile application through website, vendor sites, etc. Users to make digital payments through tabs, Android phones, mobile applications, websites, etc. Then PhonePe, it the service platforms it uses are websites, devices, notifications, mobile applications, chatbots, etc. So you can see, although about Paytm, whether we talk about Google Pay or PhonePe, although they might be using different service platforms, but yes, the idea, the objective is to offer the transactions 24/7 and at ease, so that like the customers, they are able to use these platforms in a very convenient manner. Then the organizing model, when we talk about Paytm, the credit card is charged, then order is completed, email is sent to house where shipping carrier picks up the shipment, then the shipment is delivered to the customer. This is how the model is, the organizing model. It takes place in case of Paytm. But when we talk about Google Pay, once the user chooses the method, Google Pay securely returns a payment token on the user app. Then next is the user is to be backend and the payment is processed. Whereas in case of PhonePe, the account enables the user to make payments through debit or credit card, internet banking, known as payment gateway services. So the different models might be used for gain. The idea of the crux is similar. Is revenue sharing. When we talk about Paytm, so Paytm, it's buying and selling of bills are done and through Paytm. So this is how the revenue sharing of Paytm is done. Whereas in case of Google Pay, it generates its revenue through mobile recharges, through payment of the bills pertaining to electricity, water, insurance, or analyzing the transaction they are carried out. And in case of PhonePe, it generates its revenue from advertisement of different products. It creates earnings through partner like Switch platform, through commissions, through bill payments, gift vouchers, etc. After going through all these processes in a very meticulous manner and in detail in a tabular form that we've discussed right now, let's now just try to wrap up. That is how all these three, these business giants, these payments, mobile payments technology who are being used by either Google Pay, or Paytm or PhonePe, how the visual canvas model is aligned with their business models. Well, to very briefly try to wrap up, when we say that the elements of the visual business model, they are integrated with that of the M-payment services, while visual business model, it includes customer-centric approach, technological infrastructure, creating maybe value services and offering quality products and services, distribution channel, and building customer relationship. So we can, through these three case studies, we can substantiate, we can definitely, it can be validated that yes, vision model is apt to be implemented and has been aptly implemented by these three mobile payments technology giants. Coming to the key highlights for a business to be successful. Today, we have tried to, initially, I had started with what is business, how the business vision canvas is to be framed, what are the key elements, prerequisite, and by taking the visual as a business model, for I've taken the case study of three giants as Paytm, Google Pay, and PhonePe. And by just trying to integrate the vision model with this with the three giants, we have been able to validate, and these the case studies they try to give a proof that yes, these elements of the vision model they have been very well aptly three technology based applications by the giants. Now trying to wrap up with what are the different key highlights for a business. I'll just try to wrap up by just trying, trying to incorporate that is whenever a business, how to make a business successful, be it a technology-based business, be it a organization or a service provider who is offering any kind of a transactions, is offering any products or is selling any consumable product, any product or any services. The key highlight is offering the quality services, products and services to the customers, to its clients, then using the plan out to launch the product or services in the last but not the least is the building of the customers trust, offering quality services, making the customer satisfied, taking into consideration the demand patterns, what the customer's requirements are, what are the preferences, and maintaining good, and of course maintaining trust and loyalty with its customers. Because if a customer becomes a loyal customer, he or she will never switch to the new brand or the any other marketer or any other product. So these are the few highlights for the business. I think I've been able to wrap up well. So the mantra of marketing is that customer is the king. And when we talk about the fintech companies, the mobile, technological, higher companies which are offering their services, they will only be able to create a niche for themselves. They will be able to sustain business. They'll be able to create their market share and be the big giants if they consider quality, they're offering quality services, they're building trust of the customer, they're offering friendly technologies, they're offering quality services, and last but not the least is maintaining loyalty through the customer base. So thank you so much, and I think this is all for the day. Thank you so much, and thanks for being receptive listeners. Are there any students who are ready to take any queries?
Sunpreet ma'am, am I audible to you?
And you're very much audible.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time. And this is small token of love from City University. And I'll be sharing this you via email too. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing your valuable time for our students. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Apurva ma'am. And thanks for this opportunity that you've given me. Thank you so much.